I've asked Nick Ventura to come and share for a minute his story. Were you always eager to do what is good, Nick, in your life?
No, not by any means, no.
Okay. What was your life like when you were younger?
Well, I actually grew up in the church, but never really got a whole lot out of it. I was just going to church. I never really devoted my life to anything. It was just Dad went, family went, so we went. But after growing up, getting to the teenage years, kind of veered away from that. I mean, just completely stopped going to church. Later on, I mean, it kind of felt like I was just walking further and further away from church, I guess.
Okay, so you were lost.
Yeah.
You met your wife Patty about that time. A girlfriend at that time. Did she straighten you out?
No, not at all. And without, like I said, I don't want to make this sound bad, but it kind of got worse. I was obviously trying to impress her. It was, I mean, we were young, but then it got to the point where pretty much every weekend we would go out to the clubs and we would drink and do everything. I had the mouth like you wouldn't believe. It was literally every sentence carried 2 expletives, but it got pretty bad. I don't want to say it wasn't like I was broken, completely done, and it had nothing. I mean, I still had stuff, and the main thing that I had was me, and that's what I wanted to stress is that my God was me, and it was my selfishness that you can ask Patty, anybody can ask Patty. I mean, it was Nick was selfish. It was Nick's. How do I bring glory to Nick? How do I make myself look good? And it was always about me, always.
So you were lost, and did you even know it?
I didn't think I was lost. I thought I had it all together. But I was completely lost. I was completely, I don't know, when I look back at it, it's like, so stupid. You know what I mean? You thought you had it all together, and you pretty much worship yourself.
So something starts to change all that, and what is it?
Well, I actually, Patty and I were actually on the bricks, and she had another boyfriend. I had a girlfriend, and we were separated, and we said, you know what, we want something that's going to be best for Iverson, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. They want their kids to have better stuff than they had. So we were like, well, we're going to get him involved in church, and we knew Grandma Patty's grandma, that's been coming out here for years, ever since the hotel or whatever. So we were like, let's get Iverson involved in the church. So we brought him out here, and Pastor Paul was like, well, look, he's going to be with you a lot more than he's going to be with us. So why don't you take an 8-week Bible study, and I can teach you a little bit about it. And I was like, well, it sounds interesting. I guess we can try to teach him a little bit. But by week 4 of the 8-week Bible study, it took about 16 weeks, though. But about week 4, she had left her boyfriend, and I had left my girlfriend, and we were kind of, you could see God moving, even though I couldn't see God moving. It was just like he was mending it back together and forming a family back together. This is before we were married, so we had a child out of wedlock, and he was forming us back together.
All right.
And then I'd given my life to Christ, but what I call myself is a sideline Christian. I was still showing up on Sunday mornings hungover from going out Saturday night. I was still worshiping myself. I was claiming to be a Christian, but I wasn't really living it. I wasn't doing the word at all. I was just talking about it. And I actually got an OVI, it's an OVI now. It used to be called a DUI. I was driving drunk while I was a Christian. And I remember I was out with my brother, and I was out with Patty when I got it, and we had just left a party. And another friend of ours that goes here bailed me out of jail. And when I got home, it was about 3, 4 in the morning. My brother and Patty were sitting on the porch of my house, and I get out of the car, and I got this gigantic smile on my face. And my brother was like, "Why are you smiling, dude? You just got this tremendous trial in your life. Why are you smiling?" I was like, "Because I know this changed my life. I know it changed my life." And then a couple months later, at a business conference, was when it all happened. Is when I completely. The guy that was giving the sermon on stage, he was biblically, verbally beating me up. He was on top of me, just killing me. He was telling me my sins. He was telling me everything that I was doing wrong, and I was completely shattered, broken, tears falling down my face, could barely walk. And I was like, when you encounter the love of God, you'll know it. That's all I can say. You'll know there'll be a life-changing experience when you encounter His love and when you truly give your life to Him.
How is this Christmas different now that you have the presence of Christ in you, that you've allowed Him in?
It's actually, our focus is a lot different now. It used to be on how much money can we spend on Iverson, how much money can we spend on somebody else, and all these presents and all these gifts. And like you were saying, it's not about presents, it's about His presence. And so our focus now, and I was saying this earlier, Iverson probably doesn't like it a whole lot because we only get him 3 gifts now. And that's to represent the gold, frankincense, and myrrh that the wise men brought Jesus when He was born. They're still pretty good gifts, though. He's going to find out in about an hour. But they're still pretty good gifts, but that's not the focus. And we always make him, or not make him, but encourage him to understand that it's not about that. It's about when we wake up in the morning reading Luke chapter 2 about the birth of Jesus, and without Christ we're nothing. John 15:5 says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And that's what it actually came down to. And also John 3:30, it says, less of me and more of Him. And that's what it came down to with me. Is it had to be less of me and more of Him. And I think that goes for every Christian too. It has to be less of you and more of Him. And that's our focus this Christmas, is just making the focus on Him.
Yeah. All right. Would you tell Nick thank you for his story? And I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you.